What up, America? It's your boy, Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. Back again with another video for you. So, Putrid Broadcasting Service called themselves airing a documentary regarding of the thug Mike Brown, who was shot by the police officer, Darren Wilson, 4 years ago. And it was aired this past Thursday, supposedly to mark the anniversary of Mike Brown's death. After watching that video, after seeing I've only seen parts of the documentary, because you already know the majority of it was literally nothing more than just misinformation and lies up the wazoo. Considering that the drive-by media, which Putrid Broadcasting Service is part of, all they do is nothing but lie and spin stuff around. But here's the killer. Everybody, I don't know why they doing this, and my thought is this: couldn't they just let this stuff die? Because we already know evidence and forensics prove that Mike Brown brought himself to his death. Unless if you're a toe tag liberal or a pro-black who basically take this thing otherwise, and don't like to be bound by feelings when I tell you the facts. And I'm gonna say it like this: ever since that Mike Brown incident over in Ferguson, Missouri, 4 years ago, you have people, there's literally has been this anti-law enforcement movement that's been rammed down our throat day after day. Basically, you got almost everybody on the left who literally wants to say that that this is literally that Mike Brown had his hands up, when truth be told, he did not. If anything, I'm gonna tell you how it all started. Okay, Mike Brown goes into the basically went inside this little convenience store, and what he did was stole some blunts from the counter, and next thing you know, right when he stole the blunts, there was a clerk that was at the door that was trying to tell him that he got to pay for his stuff, but apparently Brown did not pay for it, and he shoved the store clerk that was at the door before he left. Which those were two criminal acts, even though one was a petty crime, which shoplifting is a petty crime, and then but he did commit strong arm robbery, and then at that point the cops were called on, and then while Brown and his friend were being apprehended by the popo, obviously that's where pretty much Mike Brown called himself being disrespectful to the police, called them disrespectful names, let alone called them things like while being apprehended, when Brown was not compliant, and then of course, when he was about to get arrested, he reached for the police officer's firearm. Now, here's the killer. When you reach for and then he punched the officer in the face. So literally evidence and forensics proved it. And for those of you who say that Mike Brown was unarmed, I hate to bust your bubble and tell you this. You could use your fist as a weapon. I'm not going to lie. You could use your fist as a weapon. I've learned this when I was at my previous job. I was a security guard, and I've taken what do you call that? I've taken an arrest and apprehension course, let alone a use of force, which also included use of force procedures. And my former boss, at the previous job that I worked at, he is a part-time police officer, if I cannot recall. So he obviously knows how this stuff works out. But anyway, I just love it how the media likes to spin things and lie their butts off, trying to glorify dead criminals like Mike Brown, as if he's a saint, when really he's not. I could tell you what the real reason is. I'm gonna say it like this. Cops ain't perfect, okay? But cops undergo tons of stress day after day, week after week. And the thought of pushing this out, you basically got to the point where you have celebrities, especially Colin Kaepernick and LeBron James and Anne Hathaway, want to talk about that I, being a black person, should fear for my life and continue with this whole victim mentality BS. And then you obviously got the pro-blacks out there who wants me to, fear the cops. I mean, even the mainstream media will tell me to fear the cops too. Well, I'm gonna tell you this right here. I've had more police apprehensions than a lot of these individuals who like to proclaim police brutality. And how many times I've said this in a previous video. How many times how my encounters with the cops has gone out of control? None. Because I know how to act. I know how to obey the law when it comes to the police officer giving me a lawful command. It just so happens that ever since this Mike Brown incident, people taking it too far that they want a lawless society. I'm gonna quote Judge Janine Pirro right here. If you want a lawless society, if you want anarchy, to hate all the cops, you're on your own. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't just Mike Brown during that same year. You had Eric Garner, who called himself smoking loose cigarettes, illegally, basically. And now the thing is this. Eric Garner did not comply either. Sure, he was in a chokehold. Sure, he was put in a chokehold. But what really killed him was not the chokehold. He had a plethora of health issues, which were contributing factors. But yeah, but I'm going to say it like this, America. I'm so sick of the rhetorics from the left and the mainstream media, trying to, paint the picture as if people like Mike Brown were saints to begin with. And it's like this. It's getting to the point where there's less and less police presence in the black community. Why do you think there were 70 plus shootings in Chicago last week? And there were almost 20 this week. You better recognize. What are your thoughts? What are your comments on this? And I'm waiting for I'm waiting for the ProBlacks to flag this video down and send me all kinds of death threats and whatnot. I'm Chuck Johnson, a.k.a. Kid Thunder. I'm out this son of a gun.